The following program is brought to you by the friends and partners of Andrew Wommack Ministries, celebrating 50 years of sharing God's unconditional love and grace.
The thing I love about Andrew's teaching on Proverbs is because he makes it so applicable and practical. He goes through it line by line, and yet he keeps enforcing, when we do it God's way, it works. If we try to do it our way, it usually doesn't work so good.
Welcome to Gospel Truth with Andrew Wommack, a teaching ministry that focuses on God's unconditional love and grace. And now, Andrew continues teaching from the life-changing Word of God from the book of Proverbs.
Welcome to our Thursday's broadcast of the Gospel Truth. Today I'm continuing to teach through the book of Proverbs. And I know that not everybody's as excited about this as I am, but I tell you, I love the book of Proverbs. These truths in here have just transformed my life. And believe it or not, I'm going through here at lightning speed. There are times that I've taken one verse and studied it for days. And over the years, there are some of these verses that I could literally preach on for weeks. Matter of fact, I got an entire series on Proverbs chapter 13, verse 10. And so I'm going through this very quickly. But we have a lot of resources here that if you would like to get just mine the depths of these things, I would encourage you to get this. This is a digital version of my footnotes on the book of Proverbs. This little USB drive thing here has over 900 verses that I have written footnotes on the book of Proverbs. And I love this because you can put your cursor over a verse, if I quote a verse in there, and it will instantly just pop that verse up. You don't have to exit there and go someplace else. It's a great way to study, and like I said, over 900 verses. And then we have it in a book form, and then we have CDs and DVDs. We're now in Proverbs chapter 12, and in verse 17 it says, "He that speaketh truth showeth forth righteousness, but a false witness deceit." Again, very simple truth here, but this is profound, and our society today does not put a huge importance on speaking the truth. There are people that will exaggerate, lie. It has just become commonplace. I had one very good friend that lied a lot, and I liked this guy. Good friend of mine, but he just lied, and when finally it just got to a point to where, we can't have this. He told me that when he was a kid, his dad used to beat him nearly to the point of unconsciousness, and he was so afraid of getting beat and hurt and things like this that he just got to where he would say or do anything to please people. And he just became a person who would misrepresent the truth. He would say whatever it took to get people to respond to him. And there's a lot of people, it may not be that severe, but there's a lot of people that honestly, they just will bend the truth. To them, there are no absolutes. They will shade the truth and do all these kind of things. Did you know the Bible says in Exodus chapter 20, it says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness." It didn't say you shall not lie. Now it is true that we shall not lie, but this command, one of the 10 commandments is you shall not bear false witness. Did you know if you take a half truth and don't tell the other side of it or something, that's false witness. Exaggeration is false witness. And it says in John chapter 8, verse 44, Jesus was speaking, and he said that Satan is the father of all lies. He didn't abide in the truth. He originated all lies. Anytime a person uses deceit, lies in any form, they are being influenced and controlled by the devil. That's a strong statement, but it's absolutely true. And this is powerful. When you speak the truth, you are acting righteously. When you use deceit, you are a false witness. You are being inspired by the devil. Proverbs 12:18, "There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health." Again, this goes back to Proverbs 18:21. I talked about this quite a bit on my program yesterday, but death and life are in the power of the tongue, and the words are powerful. When I was a little kid, we had this little statement that we would say about sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is absolutely untrue. Words will pierce and hurt even more than a physical wound. That's just a wrong set of values. And yet there's a lot of people that words don't mean a lot to them. They'll say, I'm going to be there at 7, and they don't even leave home until 7. And they don't mean what they say, and they just, but that's not a godly person. A godly person will swear to his own hurt and not change. Words are important. In verse 19, Proverbs 12:19, the lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Again, this just goes back to, in the short term, people say, well, this lie got me out of this problem. They avoided having to deal with the persecution, the rejection, the criticism, or whatever, because they lied about it, and they think, no, I got by with this. But this is just saying that a lying tongue is just for a moment. It may get you by temporarily, but in the end results, it's going to cause you problems. But if you speak the truth, you'll be established forever. God stands behind people with integrity that speak the truth. People that lie, God resists that.
We interrupt this program for a special message from Andrew.
Hello, this is Andrew, and I'm interrupting our regular program because we've got an urgent need that I wanted to share with you. I know many of you will want to hear this, but we're approaching the end of our construction on our auditorium building. It was a $53 million project, and we are now down to around $5-point-something million from having the thing completely finished. Actually, we can cut a few corners and get in a little quicker than that, but here's the deal. We've been spending about $550,000 a month on this in order to finish by the time that school starts for the 2018-19 school year. I need to increase my spending around $500,000 per month for the next 6 months in order to make this. And I would just like to ask you to help us as we do this. And specifically on the 15th of March, just a few days ago, we had to put down deposits for the audio visual, for the concourse furniture, for the seating in the auditorium, and for some of these things that we have to order in advance. And because of that, I had to come up with an additional $604,000. And so we have just gone ahead and done that, but I tell you, we need some people to stand with us. And I know that there are many of you that watch this program and you get blessed by it. And I'm glad to minister to you, but my vision is to disciple people and to raise people up that can take this message around the world. And it's working. We have people in over, I think it's 15 or 16 different nations that we have Bible schools. We're building in India. We're building all over the world, and we're reaching people. But we just need you to help us get this done. We can accommodate so many more people. And again, we have an urgent need of $604,000 that we had to put out within the last month. And we have over the next 6 months an additional $2-point-something, nearly $3 million that I need. So I'm asking you to just help us with this. We have a number on your screen. You can call that number and you can give right now. If you would like to be a partner with us on a regular basis, it would not only bless us, but it would bless you. I can guarantee you that God would prosper you and bless you back. We are in the greatest business that there is on the planet, and that is changing people's lives and specifically raising up disciples who can make other disciples. This is the key to seeing our world change. And I'd like to invite you to be a part of it. So again, we have that number. We need people to respond quickly and let us know that you're going to stand with us. If you would call that number, there are people that will take your pledge. They will give you information, or you can go to our website, awmi.net, and there's a place that you can give a one-time donation, or you can become a partner. Remember, we have an immediate need for $604,000, and over the next 6 months, we need approximately another $3 million extra in order to get this finished and start our 2018-19 school year in this new facility. So thank you for being a part of it. Thank you in advance for caring about other people and helping us invest and change the lives of people.
And now we return you to today's regularly scheduled program.
I could give you many examples of good people having bad things happen to them. In the Word of God, it's just replete with it. The good people sometimes are persecuted unjustly. People lie, people do things. There are people that you've lived a godly life and yet your mate just goes off the rail and they divorce you and so you suffer. So I don't believe that this is saying that you'll never have a problem. You know, Jesus even said this in John chapter 16 in verse 33. He says, "In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." We are in a fallen world. There's bad things that happen to good people, but as an overall rule, if you live godly, you are going to be blessed and prospered, and those who live evil are going to have evil come to them. That's a constant theme that we've had in the book of Proverbs. And if that didn't happen in this life, let's just say, for instance, that somebody was living under some kind of a dictator and just had terrible things happen and it wound up costing them their life. If they never saw that come to pass in this life, I can promise you in the next life, in eternity, the people who lived a godly life are going to shine like the sun, while those who lived an evil life are going to be sent to hell. There's going to be rejection, suffering, and pain. And so we need to live with an internal perspective. And on an internal scale, that's absolutely true. In verse 22, it says, this Proverbs 12:22, "Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are His delight." You know, this has come up in just the last few verses that we've studied in just the book of Proverbs chapter 12 right here. It's just saying that basically any type of lie, deceit, exaggeration, any misrepresentation of the truth is an abomination to the Lord. If you are shading the truth, if you are withholding information, if you are not candid and forthright, transparent, then it's an abomination to the Lord. And again, this goes against our culture big time. This seems to be the norm, but I guarantee you there's coming a day that we're going to stand before the Lord and everything's going to be set right. And we will be glad if we tell the truth. We will be shamed and embarrassed if we didn't tell the truth. In Proverbs 12:23, "A prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaimeth foolishness." In other words, this will go along with many other scriptures in the book of Proverbs that, you know, it's wisdom to hold your tongue. Even a man who's not smart is counted wise if he doesn't open his mouth and just and spew out all of his foolishness. We need to watch our words. We need to be slow to speak, slow to wrath, and slow to anger. In James chapter 1, it says that. In verse 24, it says, "The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute." Boy, this is such a simple truth. You think everybody would know this, but there are people that they want to be the leader, they want to be the boss, they want to be the person that lives in the mansion and has the nice car and all of this stuff, and yet they're lazy, they're slothful. And this just says that slothfulness makes you under tribute. It is going to make you the lowest person on the totem pole. If you are diligent, you'll be a leader. You'll bear rule. Again, so simple. You would think anybody would understand this, and yet there's multitudes of people that don't. There are people that are thinking, how can I get money without doing anything? That's slothful. That's lazy. This is what gambling is all about. It is explicitly forbidden in the Word of God. You do not get something for nothing. If you want to bear rule, if you want to be the one in charge, if you want to be the one who's making the best salary, work harder than anybody else. You know, this used to be kind of the American dream, that if you just would work hard, anybody could prosper. Today, I don't think that would be typical of the average American today. The average American is thinking, how can I get something for nothing? Maybe I can go on welfare. I can extend my unemployment. I can do all of this stuff. Their slothfulness is being embraced and promoted today. In Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25, "Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad." Boy, there's a couple of things here, and that is that, you know what, heaviness here is just talking about sorrow, grief and stuff. It makes your heart stoop. The picture is that you see a person who's just bent over because they've had such a hard life and they can't even straighten themselves up. Body language, when a person is really discouraged, they'll walk with their head down and stuff. This is just talking about that our emotions affect our physical body, the way we act, but a good word can turn it all around. And so, man, just think, every one of us could give a compliment to somebody. Today, you need to live your life. You need to take this verse right here and just say, you know what, a good word can make a person whose heart is heavy and they're stooped down and they're oppressed, they're discouraged, and a good word could just make their day. You know what, you need to go out of your way to just try and make somebody's day. There's times I don't do this as much as I should, but there are times that I have determined and deliberately gone out just looking for somebody that I can encourage. And I see somebody who's a little depressed, discouraged, and you just bless them. You just do something to make their day. You just say something to them. Compliment them that, you know what, you're doing a great job. I remember going and picking up my clothes at the cleaners one time, and I just said something to the guy about, I really appreciate you having a good attitude and serving with a good attitude. And the guy, he just said, man, I'm so glad to be having a job. You know, it was just yesterday I talked to somebody who was waiting on us at a restaurant, and they were just cheery. They were delightful. And I said, man, you got a good attitude. For dealing with as many people as you do, you got a great attitude. I appreciate it. You know what? That's what this verse is talking about. You can sit there and make a person's day by just saying something nice to them. We've got the power to be a blessing to people. And you know what? You reap what you sow. If you would start doing that to other people, I believe that you would have people come back and encourage you. And every one of us needs the encouragement of other people at some times, so we ought to do this. In Proverbs 12:26, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. You know, this is just amazing to me. But righteousness, living a godly life, has all of these great rewards and benefits. You would think that people would just gravitate towards that, but instead, it seems like people tend towards ungodliness. They are more seduced by ungodliness than ungodly people are seduced by the righteous. And yet it doesn't make sense. And yet it's just part of being in a fallen world. It's easier to get sick than it is to walk in health. It's easier to be a couch potato than it is to have this buff body that's all, hardened like steel and all these things. It just takes more effort to walk in health and to walk in victory and righteousness than it does to walk in ungodliness. The way of righteousness is infinitely superior to ungodliness, and yet it seems like ungodliness has a greater draw than righteousness. It shouldn't be that way. In verse 27 it says, the slothful man roasteth not that which he took in hunting, but the substance of a diligent man is precious. This is basically just saying that a diligent man or a righteous person is a good steward of what they have. But slothful people, they aren't using what God has given them. Did you know every person has the ability to prosper? Every single person, everybody watching this television program, there's something that you have that you could leverage to be a blessing to other people and to prosper you. But a slothful, a lazy person doesn't use what they have. I've seen some people who were poor and yet they had great gifts. They were artists, they had an ability to do something, but yet they just weren't using what they had. But a righteous person, a diligent person, will evaluate what they have and they will use it and they will prosper because of it. There is no excuse for us just being poor and without. Any person can prosper if we would just be diligent. In Proverbs chapter 12, verse 28, it says, in the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof there is no death. Again, this isn't talking about that you'll never physically die, because the Apostle Paul died. And, we are going to die physically, but there isn't any spiritual death. The Lord told Adam, in the day you eat thereof of this fruit, you will die. And He said, you will die. He didn't die physically that day. He lived to be 930 years old, but he did die spiritually. Did you know that fear, depression, anger, bitterness, hurt, pain, all of these kind of things, they are a form of spiritual death. And so the spiritual death that we experience is what produces all of these negative emotions and hurtful experiences, and it culminates in physical death. But this is talking about that there is no death in the path of the righteous. This isn't talking about physical death. We all are going to die physically. We need to prepare for that and make our decision now so that we can live eternity in heaven. But you don't experience the hurt, the pain, the discouragement. I tell you again, this is just such a simple truth that if you live a godly life is a happy life. It's a productive life. It's a fruitful life. It's a life that doesn't have condemnation and on and on. Living ungodly produces shame, hurt, pain, all of these kind of things. Again, you know, I do not understand so many people the way that they live. They'll go get high on dope, they'll do drugs, they'll get drunk, they'll go out and shack up with another person, they do all of these things, but the next morning you have a hangover, you're unable to function, you can't do your job, you have total shame, you're humiliated, you've hurt the life of other people. I just don't understand what the attraction in all that is. Again, I admit that I've never done those things, but to me it just does not seem smart at all. The way of godliness is a way of life. There is no death in it. It's a much better way to live. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 1 says, "A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke." Man, every one of us have probably gone through this with our children, where we see our children just ignore our instructions, and man, they suffer because of it, and there's consequences to it, and we wonder why in the world do they have to go out and learn everything through the school of hard knocks. Well, likewise, we need to learn through the Word of God and not have to go and experience everything totally on our own.
I just wanted to be well. I dreamed of traveling the world, of climbing to the top of mountains. Instead, I was spending my days stuck inside. I knew I didn't want my life to stay the same, but I wasn't sure how to change. I just needed a starting point, a first step. Through my Charis online courses, I found supernatural healing. Discover what God has for you with online courses from Charis Bible College, and experience the freedom to study anywhere your adventure takes you.
I'd like to give you just a heads up that on July the 2nd through the 6th, we're going to have our Summer Family Bible Conference. I know it's still a ways off and we'll be giving you more detail, but I want you to mark your calendar and prepare to come and be with us. It's going to be a special time. This is one of my favorite times of the year, and we have things for the entire family. So mark your calendars, July the 2nd through the 6th at our facility in Woodland Park called the Sanctuary on July the 2nd through the 6th.
On this episode of The Inside Story, Andrew interviews Mike and Caroline Hesch.
I went to a doctor and he diagnosed me with what they called a malignant neoplasm. And after I saw the fear in their faces, I decided, you know what, they may not be the best people to take care of this. So I made a decision then, even though it was, I wasn't sure, I just decided to follow after the Lord. And then for the next 8 years, I went through this, roller coaster of a journey because I was so bound with legalism in my heart about, I had to get all my I's dotted and my T's crossed in order for God to give me what Christ had already paid for.
To hear the rest of this miraculous journey from cancerous tumor to complete health, go to awmi.net and click on The Inside Story.
We trust you're growing in wisdom as you study along with Andrew through the book of Proverbs. You can get the entire series that covers all 31 chapters of Proverbs in a CD or DVD album for $75 when you contact us. If you'd like to enhance your study, make sure to get a copy of Andrew's brand new hardcover book on Proverbs that includes all of his personal study notes and commentary on hundreds of verses. This book is available for $40. Or, if you prefer, you can get this book in the Proverbs gift box, which also includes a leather-bound journal as well as a pen, so you can chronicle your journey as you study through Proverbs with Andrew. This Proverbs gift box is a limited time offer and is a great idea for friends or family. Order it today for only $65 while supplies last. If you'd like to receive all of Andrew's available resources on Proverbs, make sure to order the Proverbs package. This package includes the entire Proverbs teaching in both CD and DVD albums, all of the items in the Proverbs gift box, including the book, journal, and pen, and the Proverbs software on a USB drive for your Windows computer. The special USB drive contains the Proverbs portion from the Living Commentary with all of Andrew's personal study notes on the entire book of Proverbs in digital form. This package has a catalog value of $235, but you can get it for just $199. Contact us to order the Proverbs package today. Go to awmi.net to see all the ways you can get these products. While there, you can discover other products and download many free resources. Or call our helpline Monday through Friday from 4:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Our helpline number is 719-635-1111. To write us, use the address on your screen. We appreciate your generosity and hope to hear from you today.
I'd like to ask you to consider becoming a grace partner with us. This is a person that doesn't necessarily get anything back as far as materials for your partnership, but you are just enabling us to reach out and touch other people. And you know, we have just recently had some programs where we're talking about the work that we're doing in Uganda, in Kenya. We have works going all through China and all over Europe, South Africa, Central America, just all over the world. India, we've got great things going on, and we would really like to encourage you to join with us to become a grace partner. And I tell you, not only will you enable us to touch other people's lives, but you'll be blessed. I guarantee you, you cannot outgive God. You will be blessed 100-fold in this life.
The message of God's unconditional love and grace is multiplied worldwide through your partnership with Andrew. You can become a grace partner today by going to awmi.net or calling 719-635-1111. Be the one. Watch God multiply.
Thanks to the support of our friends and partners, Charis Bible College is able to reach more people with the gospel than ever before through the continued expansion of our Phase 2 building project. For the latest information on the Phase 2 construction update, go to awmi.net.
I'd like to just encourage you to come and be with us on August the 14th through the 17th at the Sanctuary in Woodland Park, Colorado. We're going to be holding our Healing is Here conference. This, I think, is our 5th or 6th year. We have seen thousands of people healed. It's a great time, and you're going to love it. We'll give you more information the closer we get, but remember these dates, August the 14th through the 17th, 2018, our Healing is Here conference.